On the table today, I'm going to break down and discuss the 4 types of real estate investing that a lot of investors do. The goal of today's investing episode is to help aspiring investors identify which one is right for them, or even help experienced investors look at new revenue streams. For each type, I'm going to break down the pros and cons, the advantages, disadvantages, and if I've had any experience doing those type of investing. With that being said, let's kick this episode off.
Hi, I'm Victor Maas, real estate attorney, broker, and investor, but no one really cares. What they care about is that I'm a problem solver. So that's what I do for a living, is solve problems.
I'm going to show you to find deals you never even knew existed.
Deals are everywhere, but you got to get off your butt.
One deal is all it takes to change your life. Victor freaking Maas, that's right.
The first type of investing a lot of investors do is the buy and hold investor, essentially renters for the most part. So you buy a property, you do the numbers, it makes sense, you buy it, you hold on to it, and you rent it out. That's usually the big one. A lot of investors are actually getting into Airbnbs. They find it to be a little bit more lucrative. We're talking your simple home, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you clean it up, you rent it out, and basically you want to see if it's worth it. I've tried doing this in the past, but honestly, I personally don't like being a landlord. But for a lot of investors, the reason they like the buy and hold strategy is they can do depreciation, they keep up with inflation. So they bought a home for 100 grand, 10 years ago, now it's worth 200 grand as a silly example. So the best part about it is the tenants are paying down the mortgage. So if you buy a property and you borrow money against it, you get the tenants paid off. Or you do a subject to transaction where the owners just deed you the property with an existing mortgage. Once again, the tenant pays off the mortgage. So it's a win-win. The rate of return on that is just exponential if you don't put much of a down payment, if anything at all. So this is a great way for a lot of investors who are starting out to build long-term wealth. You can buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 properties a year, and in several years you should be cash flowing enough that you could quit your day job if that's what you want to do. I know a lot of investors, they do this for long-term wealth. They don't care if they make money off it. They're waiting for down the road when they're set for retirement and they've got all these properties free and clear, bringing them rental income. Again, that's the pro. The negative of buy and hold is very simple. You have to landlord, and you have basically a lot of renters who don't take care of properties, and you have to deal with that. Keep in mind, taxes go up every year, insurance goes up all the time, homes get dilapidated. You've got to fix that. If somebody gets hurt on the property, you've got to have insurance to protect yourself. And sometimes, like right now, as I'm recording this, you have to get handymen to do the work, and guess what? They're not always readily available, or they want $150 for a home visit just to change a light bulb or to fix a little plumbing leak or something like that. So there are some negatives to renting properties. How about this? You're renting it, everything's great. You're a tenant, it's time to move on. They don't renew their lease. Well, it might take you a month or two to get the house re-rented. All that time, you still have to pay a mortgage. So all it takes is 1 month a year, and you're kind of screwed in that way. What if they don't pay their rent? Now you got to go through the eviction process. And this last year and a half, we had a eviction moratorium. You're stuck with that property. You still have to make the mortgage payments, even if your tenants don't. So that's a little scary for a lot of people. So that is the pros and cons of buy and hold investing. Fix and flip investors is the next one. So to me, what does that entail? You buy a property, hopefully you don't pay more than 70 cents on the dollar minus repairs. You have a healthy budget for repairing the property. You're going to resell it, make a lot of money. So a lot of investors, they see this on TV, they get excited. It's a great way to make a big chunk of money. You can make an annual salary with fix and flip. Right now the market is so hot that that is actually a really good strategy, but there comes the disadvantages, and there's a lot of them. So here goes. You got to deal with contractors. They will rip you off left and right given the chance. They make promises they can't keep. They're supposed to start on Monday. They don't get there till Wednesday or Thursday. They start working on multiple projects. Recently we had a supply chain problem basically around the world where something used to cost $5,000 as far as framing a home is now $50,000. So you got to go with these play what the market has to offer. This is a rare thing. It hasn't happened for 100 years, but that is one of the negatives of buying and fix and flipping houses. Market forces are going to work against you sometimes, both good and bad. Yes, the market's hot, but it costs so much money right now to fix properties up. Everything, the cost has gone way, way higher. There's tariffs against China, so a lot of our products we buy are from China. You got these expenses added on and you've got to pay for it. So there's that part. During bad times, you may not be able to flip the home for what you thought. You might have overpaid for the property, thinking you can make it up on the back end when you try to resell it. You can't. So that's one of the big negatives. The other thing, unlike buy and hold, where you only have to pay us taxes on your profits, here when you sell it, it's earned income, so you got to pay a lot more in taxes. So that's one of the major disadvantages with buying, fixing, and flipping. Our next type of investor is a wholesaler. This is a person who goes and drives and looks for properties, makes contact with an owner, preferably a vacant property, and then they tie it up, put it under contract, and they sell the paper. They sell the contract to an end buyer who's going to fix and flip it. This is a very, very smart way of doing business when you're first starting out. It doesn't take much money to get started as a wholesaler. You literally could start tomorrow by driving properties, writing them all down that are vacant or really run down, doing your background check on them. I go to the local appraisal district to see who owns it. If it's owned by a bank or an investor or a company, I get rid of those. I'm trying to buy properties between 1,000 and 2,000 square feet, preferably in good zip codes, and again, preferably at no more than 70 cents on the dollar minus conservative repairs. This doesn't take any money to buy them. $10 is all you need to become a wholesaler tomorrow. That's really an advantage for a lot of newbies. Now comes the negative. Every month, this is what you have to do. It becomes your job, looking for that next deal, looking for that next deal. You're not building any long-term wealth. But if this is all you're doing, you don't have to put in 100 hours a week. You literally get away with doing 15, 20 hours a week, make a good living as a wholesaler, as long as you're very, very focused on what you're chasing down. Another negative of wholesaling is the flipper might make 40, 50 grand. You'll be lucky if you make 10 or 20 grand if you're lucky. A lot of investors are lucky to make 3 to 5 grand. So if your goal is to make 10 grand a month, you might have to do 2 or 3 deals to achieve your goals. And for a lot of investors, that's really hard to do. I guess the biggest disadvantage with wholesaling is, again, you have to do it month in, month out. And again, when you make your money, it's earned income, not long-term capital gains. So that's another disadvantage with wholesaling. I think there's a lot of wholesalers in my town because there's a lot of flippers, but reality is a lot of them go looking for properties in conventional ways, MLS or the auctions. I don't. I teach folks how to find them before they hit these markets. Anyway, that's wholesaling. Hopefully it's a good start for many of you. So another type of investing that a lot of folks don't know is owner financing. So you buy properties and then you turn around and you become the bank and you sell it to someone else. In fact, I just did a closing for a client earlier this morning, and they're lending at $85,600 for a home, for example, and the person gets to get mailbox money without having to be a landlord. And you can spread it out over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever you want, but no more than 30 years. This way it's paying you revenue every month, or as we call it, mailbox money. The disadvantage with this type of transaction is if the person doesn't pay, you have to do a foreclosure, and it may take 2 or 3 months. And right now, as we're going through COVID, a lot of folks knew that there was a moratorium on owner financing and evictions, so they weren't paying. So you still have to make your mortgage payments. That's a huge disadvantage. But now we're past that, so now if someone doesn't pay, you can foreclose and sell that same property for a higher amount. But one of the disadvantages is you have to fix up the home again. So when you do these type of homes, be careful what you put into it. But definitely owner financing is a great way to do long-term capital. So some wrap-up questions. What's my favorite type of investing from the above list I just mentioned? Easy, wholesaling. And that's only because I can find deals time and time again. But if you're getting started at this and you don't have time to really go look for deals, and you're looking for long-term wealth, I do recommend buy and hold. buy and hold, yes, it's a job, and if you don't have time for it, get a property management company, and you may have to ask for some referrals out there, but to build long-term wealth, you have to do it through rentals. And so I have a buddy, he does this, he owns like 40 properties, he generates almost $10,000 a month in income from that, allows him to pay for his cost of living and everything, and he's my age, and he could literally retire already because his expenses are here, but his revenue is here just from rental incomes. And when he's gone, he's going to leave a nice little nest egg for his 3 kids. Whereas if you're wholesaling, flipping, or anything like that, you're stuck. You don't leave anything behind for your family. Out of the options available, which type of investing is most profitable? Well, obviously the most profitable one on a short period is buying, fixing, and flipping. You can make 30, 40, 50. I think I just did one in June. One of my biggest deals ever, I made about 150 grand. That's a big chunk of money, so it's very profitable in a short period of time. But definitely long term, it's buy and hold, because all these properties get paid down by your renters. And so it's something you bought and now it's free and clear, it's worth 200 grand. Multiplied by 20, 30, 40 properties, that's a lot of money. But you have to basically sacrifice for the long haul. Of all the options, which one is the least profitable? Weirdly enough, wholesaling is the least profitable, I think. Owner financing, you make a lot of money. Buy and hold, you make a lot of money, but long term. Flipping, a lot of money, but in short term. But wholesaling is the least profitable. A lot of investors make 3, 4, 5,000, maybe 10,000 on a good day for a lot of other folks. I do a lot more. But the average investor, wholesaling is the least profitable. And it's actually, in many ways, the hardest when you have to work it, because you're always looking for the next deal, always looking for the next deal. Which type of investing is most user-friendly? Truth be told, the buy and hold is. That's a simple one. The rehab is short. You know what you're going to have to pay for it. You know what the rents are. It's usually the easiest one, even though you have to be a landlord. It's sometimes the easiest one. I would argue for me, it's wholesaling, because I know where the deals are at. I make deals very simply. I don't put many hours into a deal. I think most of my deals I put 2 to 5 hours, and that's it. That's it. So that's usually the easiest, most user-friendly for me. The least one, by far, the least friendliest one is fixing and flipping. You're going to put a lot of hours into that. Everything has to be perfect. And then after you're done with the rehabbing, you have to stage it. After you've done that, you got to meet with buyers and do contracts, and they're going to have you do all these other repairs. And something I might spend 5 hours in, I'm going to have to spend 100 hours in to do the fix and flip. Even though it's the most profitable one, it's the one that takes the most time. So definitely that's the most difficult one. And it's also very capital intensive. I forgot to mention that earlier. Fix and flip, very capital intensive. As always, thank you for watching. For more real estate investment and legal real estate content, please subscribe to our channel. Please follow me on social media, which you can find linked in the description below. Don't forget to visit thevictormaas.com, where you can register for coaching and my future events. To listen to the podcast, please search for The Victor Maas Real Estate Show, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, link below. Until next time, this is Victor Maas, sign off. Take care.